time for another edition of Full Court Press, along with Glenn Consor and Dave Johnson, and we get to say hello to Moe Wagner. And Mo, so great to see and connect with you, and we're going to get right into it. We appreciate the fans reaching out to us on Twitter at WashWizardsPN for our podcast network. So many questions. We'll start with a question that I had for you, but I think a lot of have for you, and Jessica submitted it. What have you been doing these past few weeks? Give us a little without basketball. First of all, we should say you've stayed obviously in DC. What is it like?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a weird time. First of all, I mean, it hit everyone in a weird way. I'm not gonna lie. So I've been adjusting as well, but now it's like week 4, I think, for me in quarantine. So I've kind of found my rhythm. Obviously, I work out every day and kind of build my own gym in my apartment building. So my brother is here, so I have a good sparring partner. Unfortunately, there's no basket around, so I can't really play basketball, which is very unfortunate. But I work out, take care of my body, and I have my family here, which makes it a lot easier. Spend a lot of time with them. Haven't had that much time in a long time with them. So it's actually, if you want to talk about a silver lining, that's it. And other than that, I'm just trying to get through this, catch up on movies, Netflix, all that type of stuff. Even tried a book the other day, so look at that. Yeah.
Real quick before Glenn, do you have any tips for building your own gym? Because you said you built your own gym in the apartment. Any tips for other people who are trying to do that?
I got lucky because the apartment unit below me is empty, so nobody's using that, and there's a lot of space for me to walk around. The Wizards provided us with equipment and a bike and a basketball, so you can even do some ball handling drills. The Wizards honestly have done an incredible job of just hooking us up with opportunities to engage with the other players and also engage with strength coach and trainers via Zoom. Just like almost every other profession nowadays, probably. So, it's been great.
Mo, talk a little bit about these workouts. I know Blair is a good friend of mine, and he's been telling me some of the things that he's been incorporating on Zoom. It's got to be a weird thing for you. First of all, number one, to have basketball taken away like this, and number two, to have these types of workouts has to be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's weird. It's a very unique situation, but I will say I've been actually impressed and surprised in a way by how effective you can actually approach that stuff with Zoom or FaceTime, whatever you want to call it. It's been going great that part of the day. I mean, you can work out, you can do singles, like you said. Blair is obviously great at what he does. So sometimes I call him in the middle of my workout, have him talk me through some exercises, and he's very invested. And honestly, I haven't really sacrificed anything on that end. The only thing that's bothering me, obviously, I don't think there has been a period where this long that I haven't touched a ball in the last, I don't know, probably 10 years. So, or at least 5 years. I know that for sure. So that's something where I'm starting to get restless and impatient, but it is what it is, man. There's much more important stuff going on, and obviously I'm aware of that, and my mind is at that more than the basketball, obviously.
Can you dribble? Can you dribble a ball? I mean, can you work on ball handling stuff? I know you can't shoot at baskets, but unless you had one in your head, you can make that apartment below you into. You knock the floor out, you have the height to shoot.
No, the apartment below me, I use that for ball handling drills. I mean, it's more like, you know how basketball players do it. Like they do it kind of unconsciously when they feel like playing basketball. They drill a ball around a little bit, try new stuff. But also, we as a team sometimes get together and do ball handling drills together via Zoom, which honestly worked out great as well. The Wizards have done an incredible job, and it's fun to do it with others together. So you do that 2 or 3 times a week, but obviously it's not the same.
You know, we asked Scott Brooks, we talked to Smith about this. You were just talking about, time obviously connecting with your family, and all of us and people that are listening to this podcast, everybody has a busy life and we're all go, go, go.
Yeah.
Now we're stop, stop, stop. What have you learned about yourself, or what has struck you about this period of time as you've been forced maybe to think about some things you haven't had a chance to think about?
That's a very deep question. I wish you would have sent me that one so I could have kind of, give me a deeper answer. But no, I
We're
think
keeping you on your toes, Mo.
it's incredible because, obviously, I appreciate that. You got to stimulate the mind once in a while, right? So it's incredible for me because what I've been like picking up is the type of bubble we live in the NBA, and the profession we have. That our biggest worry is how many hours we sleep on the plane in order to be in shape for next game, whether that might be Orlando or Oklahoma City. Like that's our biggest worry, where others work on the front line every day, and now there's this focus on them, but they do that every day with whatever they do. So I think you kind of live in a bubble when you have this profession, and it's crazy. Like when the sun is shining, I sit on my balcony and I have no worries, and then 2 hours north in New York, it's the epicenter of the coronavirus. Even here in Maryland, down the street, people are going crazy and just dying from this thing. And it seems like it's so far away, but it really isn't. So it's weird to me, like the type of bubble and isolated world you live in when you have this job. It's incredible, honestly.
Mo, I would imagine that, I think everybody's in the same boat, first of all. We're all, have time on our hands. We're all isolated, told to stay in. We're self-reflecting. Have you had a chance to just take a step back and self-reflect on basketball? And I think I talked to you about this once before. John Beeline is a good friend of mine. I broadcasted his games when he was at Canisius in West Virginia and Richmond and at Michigan and in the NBA. And I think the world of him. I think he's an amazing coach. And I was wondering, when you self-reflect back, if there was one thing that, you learned from him that has kind of really been impactful to you.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Bean is a very interesting coach because what I've learned over the years with him is that there's a certain commitment you obviously got to bring in order to for his stuff to work. But once you bring, like I always say, like when you want it, Coach Bean can make you rich. You just have to like want it and commit to it, and that takes some time sometimes. But like what really makes him good, in my opinion, is that he's a teacher. Like it's less the basketball, it's more the way he teaches stuff. And sometimes for a young kid, that can seem very annoying. Like I'm not gonna lie, I felt that way sometimes. I was like, Coach, like we're gonna go over this once again. Like, come on, man. We went over this so many times. But then in retrospect, you kind of realize, man, like you approach everything in life that way. And like you reflect, okay, I actually got to like thank Coach Beeline here or give him credit for that, because he's kind of installed that mindset and approach into me. And he always talked about integrity and touch every line. And I think that's something that I will take with me for the rest of my life. And it's less the basketball side of it. I mean, obviously his offense is incredible and he's a genius with X's and O's and all that stuff. But it's more like the way he does it and the mindset with how he goes about his life. And I think that's the biggest thing that I take away from those 3 years for sure.
That dovetails, and no doubt he prepared you for now this next level you're on. And we have a number of questions again at Wash Wizards PN is how you can find us. And Ayub, and also May just for Wizards tweets was asking about just your thoughts as you came to the Wizards, and also integrating with Isaac Bonga, how all of a sudden this became, such an opportunity for you with the Wizards. So maybe just your thoughts first when you got here and how this journey has been, and you had somebody you had familiarity with before to be a part of that journey with you.
Yeah, maybe I start with the Bonga thing. I mean, I'm not too excited to be on a team with him once again. No, I'm just kidding. I can't get rid of the dude. We always say we can't get rid of each other, but it's really cool because you kind of go on in a similar journey, right? We come from different. I mean, we both from Germany, but he took a different path than me, and we end up in the same place now and go through the same stuff now. So it's really cool to have that kind of familiarity in the locker room, and it makes stuff a lot easier. At the same time, with the whole trade stuff, that's so I had one vet text me that I played with last year, that when he was younger, or he got traded late in his career, and he texted me after I got traded, and I was on cloud nine, and it's a weird feeling when you get traded. You don't really know what to think. And he texted me this thing. He said, "Mo, I wish I would have been traded way earlier in my career than I actually had been." So, because it kind of takes that fear away, and honestly, for me, I was very relieved coming here to DC, because with the Lakers, and I don't want to put this in a negative context whatsoever, the Lakers are great, but for me, it was just not the right place or there were different goals in that franchise that didn't really match my development curve, to put it that way. So I was very relieved to come to DC, where I knew that there was a high interest, because of the draft prior, because of the draft workouts that I had here. So I felt very good about this opportunity, and was very relieved that it was DC. And yeah, I mean, it's been great. People believe in me. People hold me accountable, and I always take that as a compliment when people not yell at you, but like when people hold you accountable. That's always a good thing, because they have hope that you can be better. And so I've been very excited about this.
You're now playing for Scott Brooks, who's coached a number of great players, Durant and Harden and, Westbrook and Steven Adams, Bradley Beal, John Wall. Now that you're here and playing under Scott Brooks, knowing what you know about yourself, how do you coach you? What do you expect from a coach? How would you coach you right now at this stage of your career?
I'm not jealous of that job. I'm not gonna lie. I think sometimes it could be very, very, very hard to coach me. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I'm a player who takes a lot of pride in being coachable. I've always took that on me, that I listen and don't do my own stuff, which is funny, because that's what people talk to me about, to stay in my lane and not do crazy stuff. So, and sometimes I feel like, and obviously I'm not the only young guy on the team, but it can be very frustrating to coach a young group. But I mean, it's been great. I love coach. I love the whole coaching staff. Honestly, people talk to me, and there's a certain understanding of what needs to be done. And if there isn't, nobody is afraid to seek that conversation. And I think both sides feel good with that process. So I've been very happy about that. But again, like I've always said, I would hate to play with me. I would hate to play with myself. I've probably hated even more to coach myself, honestly. Yeah, no, I think it's been great.
And Sean sort of tweeted this question in, but we talked briefly about obviously been given a fitness program to work on. When we do get back to basketball, or what is his question is about? Is there certain skills that you're focused on that you want to grow your game, that you've been assigned to? This is what I want to work on to be better.
In this particular 4 weeks now, is that what you mean?
Well, no, I think he means in general. So
in general.
Well,
I've kind of learned that you got to find your niche in the NBA, and what I mean by that is that it's different. It always depends on who you're playing with, and obviously I'm in a team with 2 all-star guards, so you kind of also figure out your lane and see how you personally, individually can be successful, but also how you, kind of help the team the most. That's probably the most important thing, how you help the team and your teammates out. And recently that's been, for me, something that I've kind of found out and fell in love with, is just getting people open, like Bradley Beal, for example. Like, I remember my last 2 months or last month of playing, that was my main goal to because he was on such a tear, to just get him the ball and get him open. Whereas in the beginning of the season, my head was somewhere else. So it's interesting how when the season goes on, you develop certain different mindsets and grow that way. And I think you kind of find your niche and find a balance between the two. But yeah, it's incredible. I mean, this is my second NBA season, and I have yet to play 82 games. So there's really a lot I have to experience still and work on. And first of all, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. At the same time, I know my place, and I know that it's not about me, and need to develop a certain, or establish a certain reputation in the league first. And I'm working on that.
Mo, you think about the different types of players in the NBA. You got guys that are like Kawhi Leonard, just very docile and unemotional. And then you got guys like Westbrook, who, wears everything on his sleeve. You play with a lot of passion, like Westbrook. Yeah. And sometimes,
yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
But sometimes, what makes a player great hurts him, and sometimes what hurts a player makes him great. How do you, and the coaches talk to you about this. How do you try to channel your passion where it's, it's going to help you and help your team?
Yeah, and that's a great point. It's an ongoing process. And I remember Coach Beal is great with terminology. He would always come up with new words and
new words that you didn't understand, because I never understood him. He's so intelligent, John.
Yeah, he says stuff that makes sense in his world, but you first got to understand it. And then when you come out of, when I got out of Michigan into the league, I would use the same words or terms, and people would look at me like, I know exactly what you mean, but I've never heard that. So what he would always say, Mo, emotional is good, but once you get to the point where you're emotionally drunk, that's where you basically hurt yourself and hurt the team the most, honestly. So that's all I always try to tell me. And obviously I realized, going off of what I was just saying, you have to kind of establish your place first, and understanding that it's not about yourself. So even when you might have gotten a foul call, or the ref missed a foul call and your layup that you missed, understand that it's not about you. So just move on and play. And obviously that's something that I'm working on, talking trash to whoever it is. That's something that's good if you do it in a certain amount, but if you surpass that amount, it can be very, very, or not, it can be destructive, and not only to you, but also to your teammates. So I'm trying to grow on that part as well. And I feel like I've been making great strides in that, especially in the last month after my injury, where I just focus on basketball and nothing really else. And it's a process, man. It's not going to come from day 1 to 2. So you got to keep working on it and be aware of it.
Another Twitter question. Somebody wants to know, how did you become so good at taking charges?
Yeah. So going back to Michigan, I had never taken a charge till I got to Michigan. I don't think I had never taken a charge at home in Europe. Never in my life. I didn't even know how to do it. And then in college, I wasn't really known for that either. I would take one once in a while, but at some point this year, I just figured out that it's a great way to first of all frustrate other players. And obviously, I'm playing the center position most of the time, so I'm guarding bigger guys, or helping out on more explosive guards going into the paint. So there's a certain athletic disadvantage that I have to make up for. And I know I'm not the best shot or the biggest shot blocker. So you kind of try to come up with creative ways of how to stop the opponent without being able to block the shot. And that's still a process that's ongoing, because sometimes it happens a lot that I take charges that are out of my reach that I can't really get, and I put myself in foul trouble. But I guess I'm doing it a lot now because I kind of realized that it's a great tool to protect the basket without really having to protect the basket, if that makes sense. So, and in addition to that, it kind of stops the momentum and frustrates other players, and that's always fun. So why not?
Believe me, the team needs you to do that. It's such an important component to the game. You mentioned Bradley Beal and the tear that he was on. What's it like playing with him this year? What has been some of the things that you just walked away going, whoa, man, this guy is on another level?
Yeah, like, whoa. I remember Milwaukee, like, first of all, I can maybe use this. Maybe it's not my place to say, but Bradley Beal should be an all-star. I've said this plenty of times this year, but he should be an all-star. Maybe this is my last time that I say that this year. But the way he's played, it's just I always told myself, like, there's a certain competitiveness you have to bring on my end because this is an opportunity for you to play with great players like that doesn't come along much. So who knows how many times in the career you'll be able to play with a great player like that. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I remember in Milwaukee, I didn't care about scoring. I didn't care about anything else but just give me the ball, and then I find Bradley and I somehow tackle his player, like, and he gets a shot up because he was just so good. And it's honestly fun. It makes it fun because you feel like you're screening his man and he makes a shot. You almost feel like, you almost feel like you did it together, which is obviously not really reality, but like
it is reality. It is.
Yeah, it is reality, but like you can't take for granted how hard it is to make these shots, man. It's unbelievable, and to do it as consistent as he's been doing it all year, you almost catch yourself sometimes taking it for granted. Like, you look up there and you think, Bradley only has like 25 points. What's going on today? Like, how many times you had 25 your whole life? So it's honestly, it's amazing. And I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to be on the same court with him.
Well, and what's he been like as a leader? I mean, we've known him all his career. He always strikes me as mature beyond his years. What has he been like for you and the team as a leader?
Well, I think he's great. I think it's a lot of fun playing with him because he's very straight up. He doesn't really F around. Like, if he feels some type of way, he'll tell you. But it's not personal. It's never personal, and I really appreciate that about him. And one thing that stands out to me about him is that he doesn't take himself above others. Like, he thinks as himself as one of the others, and we just play basketball together, and he wants others to make plays, and that's so much more fun to play with. And yeah, it's incredible. I mean, this is my first year, so I can't really say anything about the development because I've only seen this year. It's a great year to be around him. So but I have nothing but good things to say about Brad, and it's a lot of fun to play with him.
Mo, you tested the waters in the NBA. You went back to play at Michigan. Then you went into the NBA. You got a little brother. Oh, he's not that little. He's 6'8", who plays at Michigan. He's a very, very good player. What do you guys talk about? I know he's with you now, and and I'm sure you have some really insightful conversations with him. He's a really good player. What advice do you give him now on, like, what does it take to be in the NBA? What can you advise him right now to do for him to make that next jump?
It's a very interesting question. I appreciate that because my brother and I were obviously great friends. It's my best friend, and we're in very close contact. But at the same time, we have such a different path of development in the sense of that he had an incredible freshman year in college, and he kind of came in ready to do that. And I remember my freshman year, I was struggling, and I didn't really play. So for me, it was a different story, and it's kind of different paths we are on. But I mean, he's a different position as well. So it's funny, like, his IQ is so high that when we talk basketball, it's not even though I might be the older brother, it's less me giving him advice. It's more us talking just basketball. Like sometimes I just let him, or try to let him talk and listen to him to like learn from him, because it's so interesting to see his view on basketball. And I think we have different strengths in that regard, and we see stuff differently. So to have conversations with him about basketball is actually very insightful and interesting to me as a big brother, to see my little brother flourish like that, obviously. So it's a blessing. It's awesome that he plays for Michigan. It makes me very happy, obviously, to stay in contact with our program that gave me so much. So, yeah, he's here. We spend a lot of time together, work out together. And, yeah, I'm very happy about the relationship we have.
Going to end here on a couple of questions from fans real quick. Ryan wants to know, PS4 or Xbox? What's your choice, or do you have one?
I'm not a good gamer, so I'm going to just give it a tie here.
And Blake wants to know, funniest guy on the team. And what was your favorite Wizard memory this year?
Funniest guy in the team. I'm gonna go with Isaac Bonga here. Bonga is a very funny dude. People underrate. He's underrated. He's hilarious. He knows himself. Yeah, he knows he's funny too, and he knows how to use that. So I'll go with Bonga.
And your favorite Wizard memory from this year?
I think we lost so many close games this year that I remember myself thinking at some point, like, we're going to win one by a buzzer beater. We're going to win one. And then we actually did win one against Dallas. And that was really cool. Like, that was because I think everyone kind of been waiting on that all year, that we catch a break late in the crunch time. And that was the time. So maybe the win against Dallas at home, that was fun.
Well, listen, this was fun. Mo, I can't thank you enough, and Glenn can't thank you enough for your time this afternoon. Remember, all podcasts will be featured on Wizards Radio 24/7 on the Wizards app, on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Google Play. And like fans who submitted questions, we appreciate that. You can do that on Twitter at WashWizardsPN. Mo, stay safe, stay healthy. We look forward to being on a basketball court with you sometime soon.
I appreciate it. Likewise. Thank you so much. Stay safe, everybody.
See you, Mo.
Mo Wagner, Glenn Consor, I'm Dave Johnson. That's Full Court Press.